Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Mark Cuban says crypto-based DeFi movement reminds him of the early days of the internet. And when I hear him say that, that just flashes back the interview that Chris Larson said when he said last year that we were about 1995 to 1996. And I would actually break that down in agreement with him and Mark Cuban, stating last year was probably around 95. And I would say this year is probably closer to 1996 as we continue moving forward to the full market maturity as stated by the World Economic Forum and central banks to be 2025. Basically 4 years from now. And in the internet boom, it was basically about this time that it sort of took off, and it was kind of almost a 4-year bull run, so to speak. Now, going into the article, billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban says the crypto-based world of decentralized finance, DeFi, it reminds him of the internet boom in the mid-90s. In a new interview on the Defiant podcast, the Shark Tank star notes that the internet had been around for years before people started to accept it as useful technology. He states, "For me, DeFi really was, now blockchain in particular, is really starting to mature. You're starting to see applications that are really coming into play, and you're starting to see NFT, the non-fungible tokens, and it's not so much about how much is sold, like the market value, but more than just that people are becoming more comfortable with it. And so we're starting to see these applications that are just popping up left and right. And it reminded me so much of the early days of the internet, where the mid-90s, people were starting to talk about internet applications, but the internet had been around for 10 years. It was mostly in universities, and so it was very analogous to what's going on with blockchain. Also, reminding Cuban of the internet's early days is Ethereum and smart contracts. Though he sees ETH gas fees as an issue, ding ding, and so do we. Unbelievable, outrageous. Back into the article, Cuban still believes that smart contracts in general are the beginning of something special. And that's a great thing too, that we are a big fan of Stellar on this channel because it does have that capability. So the biggest limitation right now is transaction costs, right? They're ridiculous. You can't do anything, and because of that, it actually puts a lid on the number of actual transactions. And you see people being pushed to private blockchains like Top Shots and different NFTs and different tokens and stuff like that. Smart contracts are real, and smart contracts and blockchain remind me of the early days of the internet when people realized that there's a network effect, and that with just HTML and then some basic JavaScript, you can do a whole lot of business and create a whole lot of new businesses. And when it comes to Bitcoin, the Dallas Mavericks owner isn't yet convinced that it can be relied on as effective hedge against inflation. And neither does Christine Lagarde. It's not that it definitely won't happen, but you can't really value that right now to say without question Bitcoin acts as an alternative or as a hedge to fiat, because there's no evidence. And that's a hope that it will, just like for gold bugs, it will. And in Argentina, back when their currency collapsed, gold itself was useless, but people ended up using commodities and food, and even gold jewelry became a kind of a trading point. And there are people who will tell you gold is the fallback currency and has been for thousands of years, but it's just a narrative. I know I did complete that article, but I wanted to share that because I thought actually everything was pretty important in the aspect of where we are today. On the next article, Ripple's battle with SEC is to land in court as parties avoid pre-trial settlement. So a section of a joint discovery letter filed on Monday before Judge Annalisa Torres reads, counsel for the parties have met and conferred, and having previously discussed settlement, do not believe there is a prospect for settlement at this time. However, the parties will promptly notify the court if any settlement in principle is reached as to any defendant. Quick update too, Vechain prices heading to all-time highs or new all-time highs as resistance weakens. And Vechain has a price target of 0.85 cents. So basically 8.5 cents. Next thing I would like to discuss, coming from iTrustCapital, Stellar XLM is now available in your crypto IRA, only at iTrustCapital.com. You can go to your IRA through iTrustCapital and have Stellar now as part of your crypto IRA. And if that's something you find yourself interested in, check in the description below. There will be a link directly for you there. And guys, remember, this is not financial advice. It's just for entertainment purposes only. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought. It's better to walk alone than with a crowd going in the wrong direction. And we also want to thank our VIPs, Surf and Gary Davidson. Much love for your support, and much love to each and every one of you. We will catch you in the next one.